Hello everyone. Now in this module, the second module of our career success masterclass, we'll be focusing on lot of strategies, planning and making, you know, uh, individual strategies which will help you in various aspects of your life. Okay, so let's start. So the first strategy that we are going to discuss today is about the intelligent quotient and the emotional quotient and the genetics and your personality traits. And how it is a strategy? It's a strategy because you have to align your career path with what you are gifted with. If those two are aligned, then you have a great chance of succeeding in life, right? So let's see how to align your career path with what you are gifted with, your genetics, your personality trait, your intelligent quotient and your emotional quotient. Okay, so let's start. So first we'll see, sorry, so first we'll see what we are going to learn in today's session. So we'll understand the intelligent and the emotional quotient, what they are and what they stand for. Then we'll see how to align your career path with your personality traits. This is the most important thing to do, and measure your IQ and EQ as well. So I'll give you a lot of sites which you will have to visit, and a lot of tests are there. So give those tests and measure and see for yourself that where you stand. Okay, and see whether you are aligned with your means your career path which you have already chosen is aligned to your personality traits or not. If not, then what to do, we are going to discuss. Okay, that we'll see. So let's see what is intelligent quotient. It is a score derived from one or more standardized tests. There are tests. We'll see what these tests are to assess an individual's intelligence. Okay, and it is used to determine the academic abilities and identify individuals with off the chart intelligence or mental challenges. So this is what normally colleges do. They take your aptitude test, which is your intelligence quotient test, and then determine whether you are suitable to do a particular course or not. Okay, so it is basically for your academic excellence and also your ability in mathematics, in solving problems, in spatial knowledge, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we'll take these tests as well. Then on the other hand, the emotional quotient is individual's ability to identify, evaluate, control and express emotions. So this is all about emotions, what you will do, how will you act, what will be your response in a given situation. Okay, so this is something which we have discussed at length in the first module. Then people with high emotional quotient usually make great leaders, because leaders should have those leadership qualities and skills, and they are mostly the emotional side of it. How will you manage people is an emotional side. It has nothing to do with your intelligence. Okay, how many mathematical problems you can solve doesn't determine how many people you can manage, right? So this managing people is all about your emotional quotient. So how well you can manage them, how well you can empathize with them, you can, you know, drive them and motivate them, inspire them to do extraordinary work. So this is all about EQ. So great leaders and team players, they are mostly having high EQ because of their ability to understand, empathize and connect with people around them. So if you wish to be in business, or if you wish even to be in a job but reach the higher levels, higher managerial levels, where you'll have to manage teams under you, then you have to have a very good EQ. Okay, and EQ is a better indicator of success in the workplace. So as we said that IQ, the intelligent quotient, has to do with your academic stuff mostly. So what kind of course you should do and what career you should pursue, that is your IQ. But once that's done, once you're in the marketplace out there managing people and talking with people, so your EQ then comes out. So your career success, how much you succeed in your career, how much you grow in your career, will depend upon your EQ. Okay, how much marks you score in your exams depends on the IQ, intelligent quotient, but how well you'll do in your business or profession will depend upon your EQ. Then in terms of abilities also, so these tests that we'll see later on, what they really check in you, what kind of abilities are tested. So EQ uh, identifies, evaluates, and control and express one's own emotion. How well you identify, evaluate, control, and express your own emotion, which we had discussed in module 1 at length, and assess others' emotions. So when you talk with people, what emotional baggage they are carrying, what challenges they have, you have to identify that. Then use emotions to facilitate thinking. One of the very great abilities that you can have, use emotions to facilitate thinking. I mean, once you understand the other person's emotions, what emotional baggage that person is carrying and what state he is right now, how will you use it, you know, to tap his thinking ability? How will you influence that person? How will you inspire that person? Through emotions. Okay, like storytelling is one of the techniques in which we can connect with people and inspire them to think, right? And understand emotional meanings. So this is the ability for EQ. And as far as IQ is concerned, it's the ability to learn, understand, and apply information to skills, logical reasoning, word comprehension. So IQ tests not only your mathematical skills, but also your language skills. Logical reasoning is one part of it. How well you can reason things, okay? Like interpretation of law is one of the IQ, this thing. Mathematical skills, abstract and spatial thinking. Abstract thinking, like if two things are given in abstract sense, how well you can relate them. And filter irrelevant information. What is irrelevant is filtered out. Only the relevant is taken in. So now the question is that which one is better? Right now we are just understanding what is EQ and what is IQ, okay? Now the question is which one is better? Is EQ better or is IQ better? I would say both have their own significance in the right place. So for example, if you are going for highly technical jobs or technical industry, then your IQ has to be strong along with your EQ. But when we talk about managing people and higher managerial levels of business, then your EQ comes into picture. So you have to have a balance of both, a good IQ and a good EQ. If both are good, then you can do wonders. Yeah. So we'll focus on that. We'll try to improve both the IQ and the EQ. And yes, that's possible. You can improve as well. So though you are born with a certain IQ and EQ, but with proper learning, you can improve both of them. And in the workplace, EQ is more related to teamwork, leadership, successful relations, service orientation, initiatives, collaboration. So everything which you do in a business organization, okay, has a great, the EQ plays a great role in that. So therefore EQ is very, very important. And IQ is about success with challenging tasks, ability to analyze and connect the dots, research and development. So people who are engaged in research and development activities, or maybe even for chartered accountants who are doing a lot of analytical stuff, or programmers, coders who have to write huge codes and they just focus on coding. So IQ comes in the first place. If they have good IQ, they can do it very well. But when it comes to managerial jobs, then EQ takes the precedence, right? So when you join any industry at the lower level, when you are the sole person responsible for your work, then IQ matters. But as you grow in the organization, then the EQ matters. So in order to get success, both are equally important. Okay. And depending upon the job roles. So now we'll see a story, a very interesting story. I had covered this story earlier in the preliminary lecture that I had taken, the introductory lecture, and we'll see it again to emphasize the importance of your genetics and your personality traits. So basically, IQ and EQ is the logic which is there. It is a measurement technique of what? Of your personality trait. Okay, so every one of us has got certain plus points and certain minuses. We have a certain personality. This personality is dependent on two things. Number one, the genetics that we have borrowed from our ancestors. The genetics, we have been talking about that as well in the first module. And number two, the circumstance in which we are living. Because as we have seen again in module 1, how we learn things. So we learn things through observation, we learn things through reward and punishment. Yeah. So this learning continuously happens. So we are learning from our environment, okay, from that ecosystem in which we live. And we have also talked about those 5 friends. You are average of 5 people around you because you observe them and you learn from them. So using all these things now, the important point is that we are born with genetics. So that's one thing, we have inherited a lot of things. And number two, we are constantly learning as well. And through learning, can we change the genetics? Yes, over time we can. Over time, slowly and steadily, we can change our genetics as well. So that's the beauty of it. So we have to keep learning, right? And that's why you are here in this masterclass. Great. So let's see. So this is a story of 2 people. Michael Phelps was in swimming, and I'll tell you the reason of taking it again, okay? Who won 5 Olympic gold medals, okay? In 5 Olympics, he played and he won 28 medals, out of which 23 were gold, 3 silver, and 2 bronze medals. Amazing feat. Nobody has beaten him up till now, okay? And the second player you can see on the screen is Hisham Al Gharouj. He was a distance runner and he won 2 gold medals, okay, in 1 Olympic game. He won 2 medals. Now, if you see that why these players were good in their respective sports, okay, one is a swimmer and the other one is a long distance runner. So this is very important for us to learn from this story. What we are going to learn is very important. Now this Michael Phelps, if you study his genetics, that is his body structure. So genetics determines our body structure as well as our brain. It determines both. So it is equally important for sportsmen and equally important for us who sit in office and work whole day. Okay. So if you study the physical structure of Michael Phelps, his wingspan, that is from this hand till this hand, if you spread it out, so that is 1.93 meters. That's the biggest span among all the competitors that he had faced in his time. Okay, means that with one stroke he can travel the longest distance. So if somebody's wingspan is less, he'll have to take more strokes, to travel a distance. And this guy with long wingspan, he can just cruise easily. Okay, so that gives him an added advantage with the competitors. Now, why we are studying this? Because success is not about just achieving something for yourself. Because whatever you try to achieve, there will be huge competition. If you today think that, okay, I'll go to Mount Everest, it's such a isolated place that there will be no competition. Mind you, the biggest competition is on Mount Everest. You have to take a license to go up there, and you will find traffic jams, literally traffic jam, because the path is very narrow when you go up there, and there are thousands of mountaineers who climb Mount Everest every year. So on a good day, a good sunny day, when the weather is good, you will find literally traffic jams. And if you feel low in oxygen and you want to stay there, you cannot. They'll push you away into the so you'll die. Nobody will wait for you. Nobody will help you up there. So competition is tough everywhere. So success is not just doing something great. Success is because everyone is doing great. So we have to beat the competition as well. And how will you beat the competition? When you have an added advantage. That's the crux of today's session. How do you find your added advantage? Okay, because if you have an added advantage over your competitors, you're going to beat them easily and achieve success. Okay, so success is not just about doing something which I'm passionate about. It's about the real strategies. Success is a real strategy game. Okay, you have to beat the competition in the first place. Think about that. Okay, so this guy has the longest wingspan, and that gives him the added advantage. Now, why does that happen? Because his body structure, number one, he's tall, he's 6.4. Okay, let me go back. But normally what happens is that your body is balanced. I mean, the bottom portion, that is the legs, and the upper body is normally balanced. Okay, but this guy, Michael Phelps, he has an added advantage because his torso, that is his upper body, is much longer than his feet. So his feet are small, the upper body is long, and therefore the hands are long, and that gives him that advantage. Even when we compare him with other players who are of the same height, so if there is some other player, other swimmer who is of the same height, 6'4", but this guy has an added advantage because his wingspan is more, because his upper torso, the upper body, is greater in length. See, so are you born with such abilities? If yes, what are they? What are they? So, Nikita, it's not true. Genetics is not only about physical, it's about mental as well. Okay, and there are a lot of things that we'll see. Wait for a few seconds, few minutes. So understood what is his advantage? Now, if you compare him with Hisham Al Gharouj, and that's the beauty why we compare them, this guy is very short in height. Okay, but he has longer legs and shorter upper body. Now, what do you need in running? Do you need hands in running or legs? Obviously legs. So this guy has longer legs, and therefore his stride is bigger as compared to all his competitors. So in one stride he can travel more distance, and therefore he won 2 gold medals. And the same story goes with all other runners, whether you take Usain Bolt or any other runner, any top runners, and you will find that their lower body is bigger in length as compared to their upper body, and therefore they have bigger strides. The one who has bigger stride will stand a great chance of winning the gold medal. Yeah, so genetics plays such an important role, and this is the statistics which is given, which I've already told you. So now the question is that the secret to success, okay, is maximize your odds to success. Now think about this. This is the most crucial point, and you must think over this point for hours and hours. This is a very crucial point. Success is all about maximizing your odds to success. So though it is not a dice game, okay, it's not about dice, like I'm throwing a dice and whether I get maximum numbers or not, nor is it that machine casino machine. But yes, success depends upon the odds. If you stack up the odds in your favor, then you will have a great chance of succeeding. Now, if I take my own example, I started teaching immediately after becoming a chartered accountant. Okay. Now, I understood that ability when I was in CA final. What was my ability? It was not about great knowledge of taxation subject. No, not at all. But the ability to argue things. And what do you need in law is argumentation, because there will be always different opinions of the same law, right? Hence people fight. Somebody says that this law means like this, other person will say that no, it means like that. So though I became a chartered accountant, could I have become a great lawyer? Yes, because my skill is not about my CA curriculum. It was about argumentation, the interpretation of law, how to interpret the law. That was my skill, which I realized when I was in CA final. And how did I realize? While teaching to my co-students. So yes, I started teaching my co-students when I was in CA final, of course free of cost. I didn't charge anything from them, but they used to come and sit just because, and I took that just because I wanted to, learn. So the best way of learning is by explaining the same thing to somebody else. If I can explain to someone else, then I get interest in learning it myself, and all my doubts get cleared. So that was the reason I started teaching, and students came and they realized that Farooq, you have, they realized and they made me realize the skill. So once I became CA, I started teaching. Okay. And the second ability was the ability to convince people with my argumentation. So argumentation and the ability to convince. Now, did I learn it anywhere, Nikita? Did I learn it anywhere? Do you have classes which teach you how to teach? No. So it was inbuilt. It was genetically given to me. Okay, passed on through generations. Now, some of my forefather might have this skill, and I inherited that skill because I didn't learn it in this lifetime. So obviously, it might have come from my genetics. So therefore, I say genetics plays a very important role, whether in your mental capacities or your physical capacities, both. So you don't look at your forefathers and see what kind of genetics I might have inherited. You just see in yourself, and you'll find that passion, that one thing which is much better than anyone else. So you know that this is the thing where I can succeed right now. Odds are in my favor. And you will find this. I'll tell you a lot of examples. You'll find this in a lot of people, like normally uh, business class families. If you study the children of business class families who have been doing business for generations, like there are some even the religious groups in our country which are predominantly uh, business families, like Marwadis and even Sindhis and Gujaratis and all, and a lot of other castes are there. Okay. Now, if you study those people, even the children, you'll understand that the way they talk, the way they perceive things, the way they understand things is very different from other people who are not from business backgrounds. So that passes through them in their genetics. They are born business people. When they see things, they have a different angle of looking at things. They'll always look at that thing from profit making or from business point of view. Whereas we will see it as a general thing. Okay. They will see opportunities, business opportunities in different things. We will not be able to see them. So that is passed on to you through your genetics, right? So everyone has got some ability which is world class. Okay. So identifying that is very crucial for us in order to succeed. That is the first step in our, path to success. So choosing the right field is very, 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 very crucial, because everywhere there is competition. Now, what you have to do is you have to align your career path with your natural inclinations and abilities. Now, somebody will ask me, what if I don't know my natural inclination and ability? Or the career path that I have taken right now is not aligned to my natural inclinations. Okay, two things can happen, or other three things can happen. Either what you're doing is aligned to your natural ability and inclination. Very good, you are on the right track. Number two, I have already chosen something which is not aligned. Then what should I do? Okay, so the answer is you can do two things. Both are equally possible. Number one, change your career path. So a lot of people do change their career paths. Okay, they do change. So I have seen people who are in practice and they come into jobs, or people in jobs, they go to practice and they go in different fields. So I've got so many students over the past 25 years, and some of them have amazing stories. I mean, I had one meritorious student very early in my teaching career, and he did not went into any company for doing a CA job. He did not start his own practice. You know what he did? He became a radio jockey. So in those times, we were in Nagpur and there was no facility. There were no FM channels in Nagpur. FM channels were only in Mumbai and Delhi at that time. He went to Mumbai. He took some coaching there, some minor coaching, and he became a radio jockey. And after a few years, he became very, very successful. Very successful. So he used to interview all the top film artists and everybody. So that's the fun of it. So he did his CA. He was a meritorious student. Just imagine. He studied so well, and he was academically also very strong and mentally very strong. He scored merit in his inter and final, and then went on to become a radio jockey. And I have seen players like a lot of CAs who have become golf players. I've seen CAs who have gone into businesses, into IT businesses, and so on and so forth, into different areas, and they have succeeded. So point is not that you have to do only what you have been qualified to do. So your education qualification is one thing, but your real, that personality is much stronger than your educational qualification. So you must pursue your liking, you must pursue your natural inclination. You have a much better chance of success in that. Okay, so remember this. So change your line if possible. Number two, develop skills. Develop the natural inclinations and abilities. Can you develop abilities? Yes. That's what we saw in the first half. In the first module, how you can develop new abilities. Okay, we have seen how to learn things, how to observe and learn, how to study and learn, the reward concept, everything we have seen. So you can learn. You can learn personality traits as well. You can learn emotional quotient as well. You can enhance your emotional quotient. You can become more empathetic. You can develop compassion. You can develop love. You can do it. And that's what we'll do. And after doing that, we'll become good in the career that we have already chosen. Okay. But if you want to change your height, definitely it cannot be. So genetics can be changed when they are of mental level. But if they are on physical level, you will not be able to change. Okay. Except you can reduce weight, you can gain weight. That's a thing which is possible. Then, so accept the fact that people are born with different abilities. Okay. So some of it we can change, some we cannot. So what we cannot, we should not. Okay. Don't waste time there. Don't waste time your whole life trying to be someone else. And there is an interesting quote, though debatable whether it is of Albert Einstein or not, but it is attributed to him. He says that you cannot judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. Okay, so if you are judging a fish by its ability to climb a tree, then what will happen? It will only make him look foolish throughout his life. Okay, so he'll only feel that he's a foolish guy. He cannot do anything. He's a failure. Why? Because he was a fish and you are judging him by his ability to climb a tree. No, you judge him for his ability to swim, and you judge a bird by its ability to fly. Okay, so don't judge people with wrong personality traits to do wrong jobs. So when you are in wrong job, that's what is going to happen. Okay, so if you choose a wrong career path, then what happens is that you are at a critically disadvantaged position. So the strength of your genetics is also your weakness. If you are very strong to do something, okay, and you do something exactly opposite of it, then you are at a serious disadvantage. You will never succeed. You are a fish. Don't try to jump on the ground, or don't try to climb a tree. Yeah, you will be foolish. Now you may feel like this, that oh, I am good at anything, I can do anything, and everything is possible. Anything is possible if there is a will. If there is a will, there is a way, and so many other quotes are there. Those quotes work. Those quotes work provided you are on the right track. If you're not on the right track, it will not work. You cannot run a railway engine on a road, and you cannot run a bus or an aeroplane on a railway track. Okay, you just do what you are meant to do, and in the best possible way. Then, so this is true not just for your physical characteristics but also mental ones. Okay, and successful people are not only well trained, but they are well suited to the task. So training and being suited both go hand in hand. If you're best suited for that job, then the training works. So what training does, it enhances your skill. Training, normally 90% of the training really enhances the skill. It doesn't build an absolutely new skill. Like if you ask me uh, to to become a movie star, I would be an utter failure. Number one, if I go into singing, I just cannot sing. So I don't have any sur and tal, okay, any of the what you call a sur. I don't understand it. So if I try, even though I practice 24 hours a day, can I become a singer like Sonu Nigam or other good singers? No, it is not possible for me. So it will be a waste of time. Or if you ask me to dance, I will absolutely fail. Absolutely. I am the worst. I haven't, in fact, danced any time before. And I'll be the worst at it. I know. I'm not suited for it. So don't waste time. Okay. So if you're suited for something, then get the training and you will excel. That's the clean and clear strategy, the number one strategy. All other strategies that we are going to talk from the next session will be on the training side. This is the first one that we are talking on, being suited for the task. But do remember that genes do not determine your destiny. They only determine the opportunity. So don't be negative about your genes, okay? If you think that, oh, my genetics are not that strong, so I will not be able to do this, I will not be able to achieve anything, that's wrong. Your genetics give you some advantage. So it only determines the starting point, okay? Your genetics only determine your starting point. It doesn't determine the end point. The end point is determined by the training and how you take it forward. So when I talk about Michael Phelps, mind you, that he won 23 gold medals not just because he had the longest wingspan. Yes, he had it, but he used to practice like 20 hours a day in the swimming pool and in the gym. You know, if you just study about him, go to the net on the internet, study about the practice of Michael Phelps, and you will see the hard work that he has put in the sport. And that's why he was so successful. So his wingspan only gave him the starting advantage. But the gold medal is not won because of that. It was because of his long hours and the dedication. Okay, so remember that. So align your ambition with your abilities. That's the basic point. And direct your efforts towards the areas that excite you and match your natural skills. So that's the starting point. So the question is, how do you understand your personality? Okay, what are the plus points in you? How will you understand? How will you identify the opportunities that are right? Okay, and how to figure out where the odds are in your favor. So that is a basic question now. So let's see the answer to this. So there is a big five personality assessment. Okay, and this is a simple one which any one of us can do offhand, and this is the first exercise that you will do today. Okay, write down these 5 points on a piece of paper and make a scale from 0 to 10. Like the first one, openness to experience, whether you are curious and inventive on one hand, to very cautious and consistent on the other hand. Okay, so on one hand you are very curious, you are inventive, you are adventurous, you try new things, you always want to do new things like me. Or you are very cautious, you just do as directed. Okay, you don't take any risk in life. So that's the other end of it. So map yourself on this scale from one side to the other side, whether you are on the open side or whether you are on the cautious side. Okay, map yourself. Nothing is bad. Okay, you don't have to say that open people are very good. No, it's your personality trait, and that will determine your career choices. So for example, if you're very open, very curious, inventive, adventurous kind of person, then I would say, okay, go for business, go for startups, do something on your own, take risks, invest in stock markets. So you'll be able to do that. On the other hand, if you are very cautious and consistent, I would say go for a good job with MNC, a secure job, or maybe a government job. Okay, don't go for startups. So because if a very cautious person puts all his money in a startup, he's going to lose everything, because startups requires risk, it requires an inventive spirit, okay, adventurism. And if he doesn't have that, then he'll be always cautious in spending his money and always count the money at the end of the day, when we know that in a startup you have to, like, spend all your money and just it goes in waste. You have to burn your cash. So he'll not be able to do that. So he'll be a failure because he's a fish trying to climb a tree. Understood the point? So don't do that. So map yourself and then see what things you can do which are good for you. So we have seen very cautious people also becoming billionaires, okay? But they will do it with caution. They will invest in public sector companies, they will invest in what we can say the blue chip companies and keep their money there. They will not take risk with small cap companies or even the mid cap companies. But an adventurous guy can do that. Okay, so that is how your decisions will differ. So you map yourself on this. Second is conscientiousness, whether you are organized, well organized person, or you are easy and spontaneous person. Live life as it comes kind of a guy, or you are very organized, that everything is organized, everything that has to be done next day is planned in advance. You run according to plans. Okay, this is one side. And on the other side, spontaneous nature. So I am on the spontaneous nature. Then extroversion, whether you're introvert or extrovert, means outgoing and energetic, you feel good in company of people, extrovert, or you are solitary and reserved. So I would rank myself in the mid of both. Sometimes I'm an extrovert, sometimes, most of the time, I'm an introvert. Then agreeableness, whether you are friendly and compassionate, okay, or very challenging and detached, means you don't hear any advice, you don't hear to people, you don't take any advice. So whether you're that kind of a person, or you are ready to mingle and take advice and take it forward, friendly and compassionate. And lastly, neuroticism, that is you are very anxious and sensitive, all the points that we had covered in the first module, or you are very confident, calm and stable. So you map yourself. Okay, so this is the first thing you'll do today, self mapping. You do your own mapping, okay, and you keep track of that. Very good. And whatever choices you make in the future, see those choices, see what it demands. Like I'm choosing, and it happens in everything. Like as I told you, investment. I want to invest some money in stock market. Go through this chart. What is the kind of person you are? You are a very cautious person. Okay, so I should put money in blue chip companies, not in small caps, and certainly not in startups. Okay, so understand your personality and then take your decisions, whether it is investment decision, whether it is a decision to join a particular profession, whether it is about starting a business. So whatever you do, take your decisions accordingly, which suits your personality trait. Secondly, I am giving you these links which will go today after the end of the session. Okay, so when I'll share the sheet with you, you go to these sites and take those tests. So one is a careertest.org, then the personalitylab.org, and then another site I'm giving you that has 15 best free career tests. Don't pay anything. Okay, don't spend any money there. Take the free tests and judge yourself. So what they'll do is they'll ask you a lot of questions, 100 to 100 questions, and they will judge you basically on these 5 parameters, and then advise you what kind of personality you have and what kind of choices you should make in life. Okay, so knowing this is very important. Now, I'm not telling you to stick by this. Whatever this result comes, you have to stick by this. Like it's a, that stone carved boundary. No, not at all. But be always aware of your personality so that you don't make very wrong choices in life. But you should be adventurous. You should take risks. Okay. Even if you're cautious, yes, you should take some risks, but not too much. Okay. So you do this exercise today and see where you stand. Check your career choices which you have already made, whether they are aligned with the results of these tests. If yes, very good, excellent. It will boost your confidence. If not, then we'll have to take some decisions. Either we can learn new traits, okay, so which are needed for my kind of business. So if I'm already in startup, I have to learn about risk taking. I have to change my inner strengths. Okay, I have to focus on that. Number 2, if I cannot change my profession, either changing the profession or learning new skills. So both of these go hand in hand. Okay, so that is the decision that we'll have to take. And if it matches, bingo. So take these tests today, okay, and then we'll continue in the next session.